one of the many things Americans has had for over a century. Well, since the 1920s. Pop culture is modern culture transmitted through different forms such as social media, news, podcasts, articles, and blogs. Pop culture is anything that has influenced a generation and is aimed particularly at its youth. Every generation has had their own pop culture. Movies, music, television, video games, sports, entertainment, news, fashion, and various forms of technology. These are just a very few examples of pop culture. Some of us may be very narrow in our exploration of popular culture, but it's difficult to find someone who has not been touched by it. So if every generation has had their own pop culture, and it's rare to find someone who hasn't been touched by it, who's to say that pop culture hasn't determined our morals, values, and opinions? Has pop culture gone so far as to has affected our political beliefs? And that brings us to our prompt: how Americans have seen the Republican and Democratic Party over the last decades, the way pop culture influenced interest in political parties.
Today's Democratic Party believes that government has an important role to play in society. It fights against economic inequality. It advocates policies that battle racial and gender discrimination. But it wasn't always this way. The Democratic Party was once the party of white supremacy, supporting slavery and the Ku Klux Klan. To understand how the party made such a huge shift, you have to go back to its origins in the mid-1820s, when it sprung up supporting the presidential candidacy of a popular former general, Andrew Jackson. Jackson was an outsider, challenging the political establishment and the elites of his day, and his critics disparaged him as a jackass.
Excuse the video's language, but this brings us to our first example. Political cartoons. They've used so much when it comes to pop culture, how political parties have taken it and give it out so it can really impact people's views. They've been used during the Industrial Revolution, they've been used during World War II and I, and they've been used during the Vietnam War and are still used today. They really help to present ideas from different political sides. You've probably seen them about Joe Biden or Trump. And there's a lot of different political cartoons. Here are some examples, but they've been used so frequently and they've really changed a lot. Take it from toonsmag.com. It states, political cartoons have the power to influence public opinion in several ways. Firstly, they serve as visual commentary. They can simply complex political issues, making them more accessible to a broader audience. Using humor, satire, cartoonists can effectively critique political figures and policies, prompting viewers to reconsider their opinions and beliefs. In this digital age, political cartoons significantly shape public opinion in innovative ways. With the rise of social media platforms, cartoonists now have a broader audience to reach them ever before, allowing them to their artwork to millions worldwide. Furthermore, the internet has democratized the creation and distribution of political cartoons, enabling amateur artists and activists to contribute meaningfully to the political discourse. Platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and Reddit have become hubs for political cartoonists to share their work and engage with audience on a global scale. Political cartoons have been vital to political discourse for centuries, providing a unique blend of humor, satire, and visual imagery to convey complex political messages. From Thomas Nast cartoons to digital age memes, these artworks have played a significant role in shaping public opinion and influenced the course of history. Taken from toonsmag.com, as mentioned before. So, yeah.
I definitely think political parties use pop culture to get in voters because you want to relate to the people that you're speaking to. You can't just talk about something that they don't relate to because they're not going to understand it. They're not going to get the point you're trying to get across. So you have to use things that they see and that they do in order to relate to them, because that's the biggest thing in getting voters. You want someone you relate to.
It's not really a belief, it's a knowledge. We know they do, from MTV to pop stars to television shows. Both parties have their own networks and their own inroads into pop culture, their own actors, actresses, musicians, bands that push their agenda.
A couple instances of politicians using pop culture to get voters, like celebrities endorsing politicians. Taylor Swift endorsed Biden. Kanye, I think he went around with Trump or something, he was friends with Trump. Using social media, ads on social media, memes on social media, media accounts, that's definitely way that politicians get votes.
I wouldn't say a specific party like absolutely did it, but so the Democrats were probably the first ones to use the idea of pop culture and probably have for a while because of probably there's more in that side, artists, rich elites from the Hollywood community, we would call it. And so you had like MTV's Rock the Vote, and it was to get out to young people to vote. And you would see that in the 90s, I think it was the 90s that had it, Bill Clinton's time, and that was very popular.
Yeah, I definitely think politicians using pop culture reach an audience has definitely been successful. They've definitely reached out to the younger Gen Z new voters. I definitely think it's worked.
Certainly. Overall, the more votes you get out, the better. The more people you get to register, the better. Multiple elections have probably been won and lost, from recently to Obama to the Bushes, that were basically all motivated from a certain block of voters getting the word out.
I definitely think pop culture has definitely changed a lot of opinions, because when you're online and you're seeing these things, you're learning more things about different people and different topics, and it's changing your view, and it's helping you form new opinions, more educated opinions. Everyone might not have the same opinion, but it's your opinion. It's from the knowledge you've gained and what you see and relate to.
Not sure a massive impact on their decisions, but it's made an impact on them getting out to vote, them registering to vote. Sometimes for certain people who can't figure out it on their own, they've heard a name enough, they'll vote for it.
I definitely think pop culture and propaganda can be similar and be used in the same way, but I do not think they're the same thing. Pop culture is just what's popular, but propaganda is trying to give like biased information that supports your side in order to gain others' opinions and votes.
Yes. I mean, people don't really care about issues when it comes to putting out a message through pop culture. It's not about things. It's just about names. It's about this guy or this person does this. They're not really running on a platform. They're just running to get the name heard over and over and over again. So you just click on it. I mean, I believe anybody who's out there talking about politics is not talking about it ambiguously. They're talking about it specifically in what they want. They want you to believe what they believe, and the reason they're out there pushing that agenda is to get you to believe it.
I feel like older people are very vulnerable. Sometimes they have trouble thinking for themselves. Not all old people, a lot of older people. I also think younger people are more susceptible to these things. When you're younger, a lot of younger people don't have their own opinions. They're kind of looking out there for kind of guidance and looking for someone else's opinion so that they could use as their own.
People who are weak-minded. They don't have thoughts of their own. They don't care to research people's platforms. They don't care to research if the people have ever done anything that they've said. Politicians say stuff all the time and never do it. I think the funniest thing in politics is when a president says, I have a 6 to 8 year plan or a 5 to 7 year plan. Dude, you need a 1 to 3 year plan before you're out of office. But they don't. And so people don't know if they do anything, and they keep hearing the same names, and some star they like says someone's name and they vote for him because they're weak. They don't understand and they don't think for themselves.
I definitely think Gen Z has been influenced a lot by pop culture. I feel like a lot of the popular culture right now and like things that are being spread around are more like liberal ideas. I think Gen Z's definitely been influenced a lot. A lot of these like topics in popular culture right now, it's more liberal ideas, and it makes sense that Gen Z's a more liberal generation.
No, I mean, I was around when I was younger, Rock the Vote. I thought, when you see it, you're like MTV. People wanted MTV when I was younger because everybody couldn't get cable. So when you started getting cable and you started seeing stars, celebrities, musicians, I mean, people that you heard on the radio, they were telling you to go out and vote, and then maybe you heard they were voting or they were talking about this subject. It influenced you. I don't think they were influenced. Gen X would be anywhere near as influenced as the current generations are, because they are kind of lazier in the way they go about their information. They're taking sound bites and they're taking misconstrued information, and they're taking stuff that is specifically written in a way where it's believable, even though it's not what it means. I think they're lazy. They're believing lies because they see them on the internet. I mean, the internet is probably more fake than it is real. Overall, if you believe something without checking multiple sources and finding out exactly the truth, or believing a meme or believing a picture, you're defeating your own self. So you're better off not knowing anything than knowing a bunch of wrong information.